Okay. Hello. That was a little more intense music than I expected. All right. So today I'm working on another. I'm doing more flight planning for a flight that I'll have this evening. So let's get going. Boop. All right. And once again, my name's Patrick. I'm a flight student. I'm working on my private pilot license, which is the first certificate you get on the way to becoming a commercial or recreational pilot. So I am not an instructor. What I'm doing is for, you could say, recreational purposes. This is my process. I'm sharing it so that people can comment and critique and give me feedback and maybe ways to improve. I'm not attempting to teach anything. I do verbalize everything as I go through, though. That helps me reinforce, as I'm a student, that does help me reinforce the things that I'm supposed to be doing. Because I believe that when you're stressed or when you're in a hurry or on time crunch, you have time pressure, whatever, you fall back to your level of training. So I believe in always reinforcing the basics. So anyway, let's get started. Today or this evening, I have a flight. It's my final. It's one of my final flights to meet my requirements. We're doing a cross-country night flight. This will round out the last of the night flying hours that I need to complete the program. I will be going with my instructor. I've already done all of my solo flights, all of my required solo flights. So now any solo flying I do is just to go and do my own practice. So I've put in, I'm going KEDC, that's my airport. I'm going to fly to Waco here, and then I'm coming back to KEDC, my airport. All right. So let's see. So let's get started. So first, I'm going to start over here, get all of my air information, I guess you could call it. So cross this out. All right, so computing I'm going to start with the pressure altitude and then do my density altitude. I'll do that for, so I'm working out KACT and SAT. So SAT is San Antonio down here. So we can fly either one of these courses. We can go to Waco and back or San Antonio and back. I've already gone to San Antonio once before. I want to experience something new. So I chose Waco. My instructor thought that was a fine idea. But I'm going to plan both just in case tonight when we meet at the airport, if something comes up or we need to, we have an option to plan a different route. This is not the same as planning like an alternate airport for a flight because that is not on the way, but it's more like an alternate trip altogether. All right, so actually let's keep that back in. I'm gonna need that. All right, go away. Also go away. Okay, check scratch pads. All right, so excuse me. Oops. What's going on? All right, today is the 6th. All right, we're going for red since most of this will be based on forecasts. So I'm going to check the METAR to get an altimeter value for all these airports. What is going on? There we go. Get rid of this, and this. Okay. And I know the METAR is only good for an hour, but there's nowhere else to get a altimeter value from. And I'm just looking to get an idea of the general conditions When the flight comes, of course, we'll get updated data, but I'll already have kind of an initial mental model that I can adjust from. So that's my thinking there. So we'll start here. All right, go to weather. Our altimeter is 3018. So 3018 for ACT. It is 3017. See, and this also lets me see, oh, they're not that much different. So, and then for San Antonio, 31 minutes ago. All right, 30.21. Yeah, they're all really close. All right, that's fine. 0.21. All right, so the pressure altitude is this formula up at the top here. So 18 and 8 is 26. So that's negative 260 plus the field elevation. That is 360. 360. Okay. And then this one is 17 and 8 is 17 and 8. That's what, 15. So 25. That's 250. Yeah, I don't know why I struggle with that. All right, so 250. So that becomes 266. These are the field elevations here. And then over here, and I've already looked these up. They would be over here on the map. Let's see, you can find those. Right there, right here at the top where it says San Antonio on the right. I can't write on the screen. I don't think. I can't. But at the top here, just under where it says 2 runways closed by NOTAM, the red bar. This is elevation 809. That's the field elevation. And I've already looked these up. Like I said, I have flown to 2 of these already. So, all right. So so the pressure altitude at San Antonio is 30.21 from 29.92 is 29. So 290. So that is 519. Okay, that's fine. Excuse me. All right, so we'll get the outside air temperature from the ATIS. Actually, I will get that from the forecast. So weather, we'll go to daily. This just to give me an idea. The flight is at 6. So at 6, we have 24, and then at 7. So from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. So 24, 22, 19. Somewhere around there is where the temperature will be. We'll be taking off after 6, slightly after 6. So I'll go ahead and use the higher temperatures are worse for performance. So I'll actually use I'll use 24 as my reference. That's at San Antonio. So we'll do 20. And actually go here. So if we leave just after 6, we'll get there just after 7. So 8 is when we expect to be back. So really 7 p.m. is right about the time we expect to be there. So actually I should just use 22. It's not going to make a massive difference, but I think it's the discipline of trying to be as accurate as possible that matters. All right, so now for Waco, weather, daily, here. So I'm looking at, again, so this is the same thing. So at the 7 o'clock, the temperature is 20. So 20. And then the tricky one will be EDC. So we have a takeoff and departure and arrival time. Daily here. So 6 is 25 and at 8 is 19. So I'll use 25 for both. The performance is worse at the higher temperatures. So that just means when I come back, I'll have better performance than I'm expecting. So that's fine. 2, 5. Okay. So the density altitude will be at KEDC. It is Field elevation. Oh, that's the ISA temp. Here we go. Outside air temperature minus the ISA temp. So that is 25 minus 13.76. So 25 minus 14 is 11 plus 2.4. Okay. And then for San Antonio, it is 20 minus 14 is 6. 0.04. Had to double check something in my head real quick. And then 22 minus 14 over here is 678.62. Okay. So that's this right here. So we're going to multiply by 120 and then add the pressure altitude. All right, so 11.24. 11.24 times 120. 1348. Go. So that is, this is 1348 plus the pressure altitude of 360. That becomes 8, and that becomes 4. That's a 4, and then that's a 471. Okay. All right. So that's done. 8.62 times 120. 8.62 times 120. 1034. 8.62. Oh, that's 1034. Okay, so plus 519. 9 and 4 is 13. That is 2, and 3 is 5. And then 5 and 10 is 15. Let's write that more clearly. 1, 5. Okay, that's this stuff. 6.04. 6.04 times 120 is 724.8. We'll call it 725. All right, 725. 725 plus 266. 5 and 6 is 13. That is 3. 6 becomes 7, and 2 is 9. 2 and 7 is 9. All right. Here we go. So there are our pressure altitudes and our density altitudes, which I need to know to determine what mixture to use. Like especially during landing, you either have it leaned out or you go full rich. And it's pretty easy. Below 3,000 density altitude, we go full rich. So that's really all I need to know is, are these below 3,000? And they are. So that's cool. Okay, moving on. That is here. Okay, I have the date updated. So there. So now we can look up our performance numbers here. So these are the landing distances. Oh, I've already got them labeled KACT, KSAT. So there we go there. Red. All right, we're going to bring across pressure, altitude, and temperature. Okay, so for KACT, pressure altitude is 993 and then 1553. So 993 and 1553. Okay. Temperatures. What the hell? There we go. All right, our temperatures are 25, 20, and 22. All right. So this is 25, 20, and 22. All right. So now I'm going to look up the performance row and column in the manual to get my landing and takeoff roll distances. And I see that at a pressure altitude of 869, I'm going to round up to 1,000. And for the temperature of 25, I'll round up to 30. So I'm actually going to be doing the same row column here. And then over here, this will round up to 1,000. It's not that far. And then this is 20. 2, 0. All right, I'm actually going to round that up to 30 because if it goes up 1 degree, that's 21. We're now in the 20 to 30 band. So I'll use the same there. So this is, we're going to use 1030. Handwriting is so bad. All right. So 1030. And then over here, 1553, we'll round that up to 2000. And again, 30 degrees. Okay. The runway lengths. All right. At Waco, the runway, that's not, it's on there, but it's yeah, I'm just trying to find, where will it be? Version, that's all that crap. All right, we'll just come down here. And see, sometimes I think it's easier to find on the actual sectional map here. There's ACT, Waco Regional right there. And we have 7-1. Oh, they have a long one. Okay, so they are 7-1. That means that runway is 7,100 feet long. All right. And back to the map for the other guy. All right, San Antonio, SAT. So their runway is 8.5. Okay. So they're 8,500. These are real. I mean, San Antonio is a huge airport, but I'm used to my airport. KDC is a private airport, and a 6,000-foot runway is actually pretty long compared to most of the private airport runways around here. So I'm not used to other places having longer runways. All right, I'm going to take this off. And as a matter of fact, yeah, it's going to do it. You should do it right. And you should always do it. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to look up this information here. Go to yellow. The whole purpose of the exercise is to improve familiarity with the, with the handbook, the pilot's operating handbook, the manual that comes in the plane. All right, we are flying 5124 Juliet. So that's the second row over here, or the manual that I have. Okay, so if I want takeoff and landing distances, this will be, I think this is going to be under performance. So that's section 5, performance. Takeoff distance, there we go, 2,300 pounds, 512. Yep. All right, here we go. So, I do apologize. I'm staring at my tablet here. Let's make this a bit better. I need the camera like down here. Okay. All right, so I am using over here. Let's do this. That's fine. And then let's get rid of all this garbage. All right, here, let's do something that stands out a little more. Maybe blue. Okay. So for 2 of these airports, we're doing 1,000 altitude, pressure altitude. We're going to use a pressure altitude of 1,000, and the other one we're going to use 2,000, and all of them we're going to use 30 degrees as the outside air temperature, or the standardized outside air temperature. So here we go. So here is 1 in 2,000. So we're doing maximum takeoff weight, just 2,300 pounds. That's the heaviest this plane can be. So that's what we use. So right here, why are you not? Undo. Kind of strange how it snaps like that. There we go. All right, it's legible. All right, and then for the 2 runways, For the two locations that are 20 degrees, we'll use that. These numbers. Pencil. Here we go. Damn it. I'm terrible with an iPad. All right. We're going to use these numbers. And then for the other airport, San Antonio, we're going to use these numbers. And it'll be the intersection of the rows and the columns there. So at 1,000 altitude, it's 915 and then 1630. Okay, so that's these are takeoff. Okay, so 915 and 1630. So here, takeoff 915 and 1630, and that's going to be the same here. 1630. And then for the other one, it is 980 1745. So 980 1745. These are the distances in feet for your takeoff roll, which is how long you're on the runway, and then to clear a 50-foot obstacle, which means roll down the runway and get into the air and climb to an altitude of 50 feet. Oh my goodness. All right. Now for the landing. Oops. Done. Okay. So for landing, look for the same thing. Here it is. Select all. And we use the same. Oh, right here. We use the same information. So I'm going to use my same density altitudes and then my same temperatures. All right, so at 1,000 feet, 20 degrees is 550 and 1300. Scratch pad. So this is 550 and 1300. 550 1300. And then at 2,000 feet, it's 590 and 1370. So 590 and 1370. There we go. 1370. All right. All right. And I can confirm. Actually, let's back up. So let's compute the touch and go values, which is basically the sum of take, because you're going to land and then take off all on the same runway and the same pass. So 915 and 550. This is 65 and 14. Okay. And then 1630 and 1300 is 30 and 30. Okay. And then over here, these would be the same numbers. So 1, 4, 6, 5, and 3030. And then over here, we have 980 and 590. So 80 and 90 is 70. And then this is 10 and 15. And then, hello, Lulu. All right. And then 1745 and 1370. So that is 5. 4 and 7 is 11. So this is now 18 and 13, which is 31. All right. So now we check. Are all these values in this column less than 6,000? Yep. 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 That's a check. So is that. All right. Are these all less than 7,100? Well, I mean, if they're all less than 6,000, they are all definitely less than 7,100. Okay. And are all these less than 8,500? Yes, they are. This also, this may be over preparing, but I do like to know, for sure that based on conservative estimates on density, altitude, and temperature, that I can reasonably expect to land on a runway. I mean, that's safety. What I find it's also useful to know is like when I'm looking at these numbers, I see, for example, at my airport, the runway length is 6,000. So even a touch and go should only use half the runway. But this gives me an idea. So like if I'm doing a touch and go and I'm coming in long, this gives me an idea of like whether or not like should I do the touch and go or should I do a full stop and then a taxi back and then take off. So and just having seen this gives me an idea. All right, so this is here. Let's put the correct date in now. So February 6th, that's today. All right, so that's complete. Yep, aircraft weight 2,300, yep. All right, that's complete. Now we're gonna look up the airspeeds, critical airspeeds. All right, so here. All right, so I don't like to delete the data because I use it as a sanity check for the information I do look up here. But I will cross it off to indicate that I haven't looked it up yet. And then these orange is information calculated on based on what I looked up. The information over here in orange comes from over here. So worry about that. All right, so yellow. And this usually takes a little bit of time because the information's all over the book. 6. All right, so let's start with rotate. I know that will be in, that's not what I want. Done. Okay, so that'll be a normal procedure. So section 4, normal procedures, we're going to get that. Oh, look at that. Ah, VXUI, this is the first time I've ever found them first. Helps that I highlighted them. So best rate of climb is 73. So that is here, VY. So 73. So this gets me the most altitude in the shortest amount of time. And then here, best angle of climb is 59. So this gets you 59. The most amount of the most amount of altitude in the shortest distance over ground. So that's what you use to clear obstacles. All right, let's continue on to the rotate speed. So start before takeoff, normal takeoff. Flaps up, carb heat cold, throttle full open, elevator control, lift nose wheel at 55. Okay, so 55, that's what I have here. That's what it always is. I'm able to get all these numbers consistently. Like when I look them up, there's no problems. The only exception is the cruise climb value. There's like 3 different, like here is the speed you climb at when like for your climb out or for your when climbing listed in the different places in the manual. None of them actually say cruise climb. They're all really similar, but they're not the same. All right, so documents. All right, so here we did a takeoff, short field takeoff, en route climb. So here we go, en route climb. Airspeed is 70 to 85. So 70 to 85, that's what I have here. 70 to 85. All right. Expected gusts, I don't know yet. We can check. Might as well check right now. So we can go to KEDC, show on the map, weather, TAF, and we'll just come down here. So tonight, 6 p.m., variable at 3 knots. So that would mean variable direction, but constantly blowing at 3 knots. That is such a small amount. I would not consider that a gust factor. Or I would not consider that an amount that needs to be accounted for by like a gust factor or something. All right, at Waco, weather TAF. Current 10 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, well, as of right now, it's 3:30 at 6. Wind is from 3:30 at 6 knots. And then SAT, San Antonio, half at 6 p.m., variable of 4 knots. So there's no actual gusting. So that's fine. That's good. So here, so we can do this. Of course, things will always change. We'll get the weather right before we take off. And we get the weather right before we land somewhere. And then there's also like wind socks and other indicators when you're on site. So you get a good idea of what the wind is actually doing. All right, let's go for the safety speeds. So let's look up the approach speed. So that'll be for landing. Okay, and I'm looking for final approach, like as you're lined up on final and come down to the runway. So we have before landing over here. Let's get this and let's clean up this. All right. So we have before landing. So we got, and then we have landing. So we got normal and we got short field. We need both of those. So we got airspeed at flaps up, and then we put flaps as desired, and airspeed 55 to 65 flaps down, and then main wheels down first. So 55 to 65 is our desired approach, which is what I have here. And if there's a gust, I'll adjust that, but we don't have any gusts. So 55 to 65 knots. And then a lot of times, because of these numbers here, which are there's stall speed plus a 30% margin, based on level flight or banking flight. A lot of times my target approach speed is just 65 because it keeps me the safest. Like 65 is above all of these, with the exception of this. This would be flaps up in a 45-degree bank. So, and when I'm on final, I'm not banking. So, you're flying straight. So usually what I'll do is I'm like, I know, like, okay, here, while I'm in the pattern, especially when I'm turning to base or from base to final, I'm like, okay, critical airspeed is 70, don't go below 70. And then once I'm on final, I'm like, okay, my approach is going to be 55 to 65. So that's how I use this here. Let's get rid of that. Okay. All right. So next is, I'm going to jump down here to VA. This is the maneuver speed limit. That will be under, damn it. Always do that. All right. This is a limit. So I'm going to say this is under limitations too. Yep, here it is. And I've already circled it. VA, that's the max maneuver speed. So at 2,300 pounds here, we have 97 knots. Scratch pad, that's what I have here. 97, all right. And then this is my best glide. This is my approach, or this is in case of like an engine out or whatever. So we'll go look that up. All right, this is emergencies. So 3. Okay, so engine failure during takeoff run, after takeoff, during flight. All right, so it's going to be at the beginning here. And there we are, right there. Engine failure after takeoff. So if your flaps are up, your best glide is 65. Flaps are down, your best glide is 60. And funny enough, if you look inside this particular airplane, on the checklist that's in the airplane, it actually says best glide is 68. I suspect that is maybe to provide a safety margin. I'm not sure, but that is quite common for these Cessnas. I've flown about 7 different Cessnas now, 6 or 7. Our school has like 10, and we have 2 locations. So at my location, there's like 6 different planes. And then sometimes, like, we've had like one get sold and we bought another one. So I've flown a handful of them, and the numbers are always similar, but not the same. So, yeah, something I've noticed. All right, so flaps up is 65, flaps down is 60. And that's what I have. Flaps at 0 is 65, and full flaps at 40 degrees, 60. All right, so we're going to clean this up. We've got 60 and 65, which lines up also with my approach speed. With my approach speed. So I mean, it all kind of makes sense. You know, if your best glide is 65 or 60, and then your approach is 55 to 65, well, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's get these stall speeds documents. All right, so stall speeds will be probably limitations. I always end up stumbling across stall speeds while looking for something else. Oh, it was not in limitations. All right, would it be under performance? Section 5. I bet it is. Section 5. Stall speeds right there. All right. Okay, here we go. Stall speeds based on where your center of gravity is. So what I do is I take the average between the most rearward center of gravity stall speed here and the most forward. The numbers are never exact, but they get close. They give me an idea. All right, so I use angle of bank for 0, angle of bank of 45 here and here. So we split the difference between the values and we note them down. So going first at 0 degrees, flaps up, so flaps 0, we have 42 and 47, so that is a difference of 5. I'll round that up to an even number of 6. Half of that is 3, so 42 and 3 is 45. That's what I have here. How about that? 45. All right. So this is just an exercise, but it does get me practice on my handwriting. And then also practice using the POH, and I'll just get me in my building a mental model of how the aircraft performs. All right, so the stall speed is 45. So at flaps 1 is 10 degrees. So 38 and 44 is that's the difference of 6. So 38 and 3 is 41. That's what we have here. 41. All right, I'll have to impute those. All right, and at flaps 4, we have 36 and 41. That is 5, round up to 6. So that's 3, so 39. 39, that's what I have. 39. I did that last time too. All right, so imputed this is halfway between, because they don't list those values. Honestly, I don't really need to know those. I just need to know my limits, my min and my max limits, and then I can adjust. Because I don't memorize all these numbers. It's just it gives me an idea of where my limits are. Okay, bugging me. Okay, let's see. Let's continue on. We'll get the bank numbers. All right, so at a 45 degree bank, we have 50 and 56, so that's 53. Yep, that makes sense. 53. Jesus. All right. 45 and 52 is 5 and 2 is 7 plus 1 is 8, so 49. 49. Okay. And then 43 and 49, that is 6. Half of that's 3. 43 is 3 is 46. So 46. And then 6 and to 49 is 3. So we'll do 2. Make that 48. Better to err on the high side. All right. The safety margin is 30%. So now we just add 30% to all these numbers. So 30% of 45 is 13.5, round up to 14, and that becomes 59. Okay. 59. All right. This is 12.3, so that becomes 54. Whoops. All right. 54. Okay. This is 12. That becomes 52. It's a nice, easy one. 52. Okay. And then 39. If this was 40, it would also be 12. So that would be 51. Go. 51. V approach minimum save. Okay. All right. Now for the bank angles, these are the stall speeds that I computed. So now we're going to add in the safety margin of 30%. This is 53. Okay. So 15.9 is 30%. So we'll call that 16. So this becomes 69. So at a 45-degree bank with no flaps, my safe speed is 69. So again, coming back over here, normally my critical values that I worry about are like 65, because this is only if I have no flaps at all. So even with one level of flaps that's 10 degrees, we'll see over here the safety speed is going to be 64. So even that's already within the safe value over here. All right, so 49, we'll call that 50. That's 15. So 15 and 49 is 64. So the only reason I need to remember that in my mind, I'd just go that 70 knot safe speed is in a 45-degree bank with no flaps, which is pretty that's not something I should be doing really ever. All right, so here we've got 48. 30% of that is what 12 and 2.4, so that's 14. We'll call it 15 for easy math, and that becomes 63. Yeah, just like that. 63, and then 46. 46. There we go. And 30%, that is 12 plus 1.8, that's 13.8. We're going to call that 14. 14 and 46 is 60. All right. So my stall optimized value, this is basically stall and landing configuration, is this bottom row here. So we have 51 and 60, which is right there. And then my secondary VS1, I don't really have a mnemonic other than it's my secondary stall configuration speed thingy, is with basically no flaps. So unoptimized stall speed. And that is my 59 and 69 values over there. So cool. All right, now let's see. I think I missed picking up, my short field information. I think I ran across it and then I forgot to write it down or note it. All right, so let's get the, we need the approach speed and the VX speed. So this is for landing and for takeoff. So these are normal operations. So that is section 4. Oh, how in the world did I do that? There we go. All right, so for short field, for takeoff, normal takeoff, and short field takeoff. Here we go. Climb speed is 59. All right, that's VX, and that makes sense. 59. Because a lot of times, well, I guess I don't say a lot of times, but like the idea is if you're doing a short field takeoff, there's probably something at the end of the runway, either something that goes up or something that goes down. So you want to get into the air as soon as possible. That's your VX. As soon as possible, and as short of the ground distance as possible. You want to get up, clear your obstacle, 50 feet. Okay. the approach. So when we land, short field landing, here, 60 to 70 is your approach speed. You go flaps down 40 degrees, and then at 60, and then you flare, and then you touch down. So 60. Yep. There we go. Which makes sense. That lines up with our best glide and our approach speed there. So all sanity check works. All right, cool. So I know I'm going to rotate at 55. I'm going to climb out at 70 to 85. And then when I'm returning and I'm in the pattern, I want to keep my speed basically between, how I want to put this. Well, I know an emergency, my best glide is 65 or 60. My approach speed is 55 to 65 over here. And then if I'm banking with anything other than no flaps, so no flaps banking, I know is 70 degrees. But anything, if there's even one degree, one notch of flaps, which is 10 degrees, or I'm banked less than 45 degrees, like I'm definitely within the safe zone. So 65, 70 is kind of what I remember there. Okay. That is that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, cool. So those are all my numbers. Let's come over here. We're going to do our weather planning. So here in our airport planning. So I'm going to scrub this. Hello, Pimpin. That. Do here. And I'll also write down like my frequencies and stuff that I expect to use. Departure. Oh, don't need that. All right. Here we go. Oh yeah. Okay. 6. Oh, let's get rid of this. Oh, and this. Oh my goodness. Not sure why that was so hard. All right, so there's that one. All right, here we go. This is Waco. All of this. So the last time I planned this trip, the day before, oops, we had that real bad weather here, and it was like not an ice storm, but it was really bad, and the weather was all like low IFR. So I knew I wouldn't be able to fly, but I went through the process anyway just to get the practice. All right, let's go here. Here, oops, did it again. Let's get rid of that one. Here, DA, density, altitude. All right, there's that. And then here is on our turn. That one. That. There we go. Finally got one. Go. All right, great. Yellow, this is February 6th here. All right, February 6th. This, I don't have to worry about being so fastidious with my writing here just for the date. I don't need that while I'm actually flying. Okay, so when we depart out of KEDC, let me see. Actually, before we do, yeah, we'll just do it like this. All right, so I'm gonna fly out of KDC. I've got my ground and my tower frequencies written down, as well as my AWAS. I won't go through finding that information because I'll have to do that on the other two airports anyway. So you can see that there. I will shift to red. I'm gonna get my weather here, KDC. Boop. Weather, we're using forecast. We'll go to the TAF. So 6 p.m. tonight, winds are variable at 3. Okay, so VRB at 3 with no gust. 3 with no gust. Not close. Here we go. Sky is clear and there's no cloud layer. That's cool. So CLR, and that is that. Okay, so we can get the dew point from the forecast. So at 6, yeah. So at 6, it is, whoops, it's going to be 25, and the dew point is going to be 1. Okay. All right, so 25 and 1. And then I know my density altitude will be, here, come on, 1748. So back to here, 1748. Do need to be able to read that quickly at a glance. All right, so the wind is variable. I have no way to anticipate which runway we'll use. So I'll just put 13-31. I know that that is the physical runway we'll use. I just don't know which direction we'll be going. All right, now we'll probably open flight following. So I've got that indicated here, flight following from EDC. So, oh, this is a little tricky. If I'm trying to plan both flights, because I'm effectively trying to plan this and then this at the same time. All right, well, I think what I'll do is I'll just plan this one and then I can do the other one in the cockpit before we take off. All right, so if I go from KEDC, can I draw? Oop, can draw. So from here to here, here we go. So once I leave the delta, all my drawing tools changed on me. Where's the... Oh, I gotta make it come up. Oh, okay. You go away. All right, 1. And then, there we go. So once I leave the delta, they'll flip us over to Austin. The tower will flip us over to Austin. So, oh, right. So I'm heading basically east. Well, I'm heading basically north, but it's got an east slant. So the altitude I'll need to go, it needs to be odd plus 500. So here we go. So I have written 65. Yeah, I need to double check, but I'm almost certain it needs to be odd. All right, here we go. Study. Squawk codes. Let's see, altitude. I'm pretty sure it's odd. Oh, it's not there. Let's do this. Odd. I use the word odd too much. That sucks. No. All right, here we go. We're in the right channel. So night flying, pre-flight, altitude. No. Using the E6. This sucks. This is one of those things where like I'm like 95% confident that I have it right, but I want to be 100%. And in the instant there's the smallest amount of doubt in my head, I'm like, better go check. So I'm looking up to see. So when you travel, when you're heading or your course is from 0 to 180 on the map degrees, you want to be at a odd altitude in thousands. So like 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. And when you're going in like in my mind, I'm like to the left. So from 180 all up to 360, you're going to be an even. Doesn't matter below 3,000, but I do think this flight's long enough. We'll go above 3,000. So, oh my God, I can't find it. I'm all the way back in weather now. I have a ton of notes that I often will refer back to. I have notes from the course that I'm going through. Then I have a second channel that's like more like every like the course I go through, I have notes from like every lesson. And then I have a second channel that's more like critical information. But this is so basic, and I had it down pretty well at one point that I guess I never considered it critical, because it's like it's one of those things where like I've got it down to the point I don't need to think about it, and as soon as I think about it, I doubt myself. That's exactly what happened. I started thinking about it. Now I'm doubting myself. So. All right, oh my God, where is it? Oh, hey, I missed you. What's up, man? Yeah, eyes in there, 15 degrees for takeoff. It depends on the plane. In the Cessnas, you typically Cessnas can't go to 15. They're increments of 10, and most of the time in a Cessna, you'll take off full flaps up. If you're doing like a soft field takeoff, I think you'll do flaps at 10. Just to get the weight off the wheels as soon as possible, and then you'll stay in ground effect, pick up speed, and take off. But in a Cessna, most of the time, it's you take off with your flaps up. Where? Oh my God, still haven't found this yet. MEDAR. Oh my God. See if I can Google it any faster. All right. Aviation altitude. 0 to flight level. Here it is. Must be an odd altitude, 0 through 179. So I was correct. I was correct. But I have the confidence, like that just boosts my confidence now. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so it needs to be at an odd altitude. So this information is from a previous plan. So we're gonna probably use, given the distance, I'm gonna say it'll either be 55 or 75. So we'll do 0, 5, 5, and it's so the thousands value has to be odd. And then you add 500 for a VFR flight, which is what I'm doing. So 0, 5, 5, and this value's in hundreds. So this is 5,500 is my altitude. And then I could also have the option of 7,000. And sometimes what'll make that determination will be if there's a cloud layer or there's weather or something. I'll need to stay below that. All right. Then I have a second entry here. That may have been, I'm not sure what that was for. All right, they'll give me a squawk code, so I have room to write that here. I have Waco. Oh, I see. Yeah, so here. So if I'm going to Waco, oh, so this is from my previous, oh, wow, I've planned this trip a few times now. So 055 is what I had planned to go to if I was going to head for Waco. And then 065 for San Antonio, because 65, so now we're on on the left side here. So all this is even and all that is odd. 2, 3. Yeah. Should have just read all the words. All right, so we'll do that, and we'll do that. San Antonio. Oh, all right. So 0, 5, 5, and then 0, 6, 5. Cool. So we'll use 0, 0, 5, 5. I'll leave room for they'll give me a squawk code. And then I'm expecting, actually, regardless of whether we go north or south, whichever destination we go to, they will transfer us to Austin Tower. So at Austin Tower, right, the frequency they give us will depending which way we're going. If we're going west, south, or east, and I think north is split, so it's kind of like, I believe it's something like this. So this is west, south, and east, and that determines the frequency. I mean, I don't need to know, like, I don't need to be able to figure that out. They're going to give me the frequency, but I do like to understand what it says here. So I expect they'll give me 127.225 if I'm heading east, and if I'm heading south, it's more south than west. So I expect here, it's right on the border. So who knows? It'll be one of these other two. So I've underlined the one that I really think they're going to give me. Let's do this. Oh my God, there we go. All right, we're going to do red. I'm going to put no gust. There we go. So because that line just looked like a random mark. All right. So that's what I expect there. Once I am about halfway, so this is Waco up here. So right around here, actually probably maybe around here, I might get transferred over to who is it over here? I think it's GRK. That's there's an army base over here, and they have an airport, and they kind of control all this area. So I know in the past I've flown up in this direction, and they've transferred me over to them. The towers transfer me over to their control. So that may happen again. And then once I'm up a little more up here, they'll turn me over to Waco's tower. Right. And then Waco will give me instructions to come in. All right, go away. Let's get rid of my mess now. Beep, 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 beep. Is that everything? Oops. Beep. Done. Yeah. Okay. Now, when that happens, I've got this room over here. And that's where I'll write the additional frequencies they give me. My squawk shouldn't change. It won't change until I land at Waco. Oh, wait, no. I'll be under tower the whole time. So my cross-country flights, I flew to untowered airports. So I would be under VFR flight following, whoops, basically until I got within sight of the airport. Then they would turn me over to VFR flight with a descent approval. And then I'm on my own. And at that point, my squawk code goes back to 1200, which is a VFR flight. I'll do my touch and go and then take back off. And then once I kind of re-enter I want to call it the controlled airspace, but when I leave the local area of that of like whatever untowered airport I'm at, then I have to reach out to that original control tower that I left and get contact them, and then they'll give me a squawk code or whatever. But since I'm going to a towered airport, I'll have a squawk code when I arrive there. I think I'll keep it because I'll land and they'll turn around and take off again. I think I'll keep it. anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll write it down over here, whatever they give me. And that'll be that. So here, so this is basically when I leave KEDC. I'm going to give them this information for the flight following over here. And then they're going to give me my clearance. As soon as I'm out of the Delta, they're going to give me, they're going to transfer me to Austin, which will give me this frequencies over here. And at that point, once I'm on the frequency over here, I will go to here. This is my destination airport. So I've got, yeah, these are the frequencies for the Gray Army Airfield Tower, which would be controlling that area. So I'll expect to be passed to these guys. If not, you know, it's fine. Whatever they tell me to do, I'll do it. But then I'll land, and then when I come back, I'm going to request flight following again. I'll be coming from ACT. I'll want flight level 65 because I'll be coming back, and I'll be heading a little westerly. They'll give me a new squawk code here. And then I'll fly back at some point. Gray will transfer me back to Austin. Austin will manage me until I get to KEDC, and then they'll transfer me. Austin will transfer me to KEDC. And then KEDC will give me my instructions for landing. So it's not complicated. So over here, I've got my tower and ground noted for Waco already. So I thought I was going to have to look those up. I don't, but it's already here. But this is where they are. So I've got, these are my weathers. My ATIS is 123.85 for Waco, 123.85 here. And then my tower is over here, 119.3 and 119.3. And then my ground, which I'm not sure if I'll use that or not, 121.9. And over here, 121.9. So that's cool. All right. So let me write my density altitude down real quick. All right. 993. Okay. Red. 993. All right, cool. All right. It looks like I think I need to stop this, and then I will continue. Oh man, people were in and out. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed you all. I'm gonna stop this, and I will resume in about 30 minutes. Someone's at the door. I've got to go take care of that, and there's a phone call I need to make. So I'll be back in 30 minutes to continue. Yes. Hey Josh, paperwork simulator. Hey, you know, there's a lot of information you gotta get right to fly. So yeah. Let me get my thingy here. All right. Yeah. So I'll be back in like 30 minutes. I'll stop the stream, and then I'll start a new one, resume it, whatever I have to do to finish this up. All right.